their quarterbacks.
Really well done there. Very well done.
Dan Orlovsky, Field Yates is here. Adam Schefter is with us as well. We have a lot to get to, so we're going to start off with Shefty. Hello, Adam. What is the latest on the Commanders' wideout, Terry McLaurin?
Hello, Laura. Terry McLaurin did not practice today once again, dealing with that quad injury where he's missed the last couple of games. And the fact that he started this week with a DNP does not bode well for his availability for Monday night's game. Now, it is Wednesday, and the Monday night game obviously is another day. So if McLaurin doesn't practice tomorrow, that would be a sign that they can't count on him to play Monday night. As for Kyler Murray, didn't practice today due to a foot injury, suffered at the end of the game against the Titans. He did come back into play, so that is notable. And Jonathan Gannon, the Cardinals coach, said today that Murray is day-to-day. We'll see whether he can make it back onto the practice field Thursday. But no practice again today for the Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson, who missed the game last week with that hamstring injury, and the Ravens have a bye after this week's game against the Rams. The fact that there was no sign of Jackson at practice today, not an encouraging sign, and it looks like it'll be another week of Cooper Rush in a week in which there will be more Ravens missing, but there was some positive, encouraging news today. Kyle Hamilton and Ronnie Stanley both returned to practice today, offering some hope and encouragement that those two key players could be back for Sunday's game before the bye against the Rams.
Just a rash of injury for those Ravens. More from Adam throughout the show. And as you heard Adam say, Field, no practice for Lamar. They do get a bit of help, hopefully, with Kyle Hamilton, Ronnie Stanley back. Any hope for the Ravens against the Rams this weekend?
Very concerned. This Rams team, which, by the way, lost in very disappointing fashion last Thursday night, is going to come to Baltimore extremely disappointed after their defeat against the 49ers. I'm concerned because the offense had really no answers last week. Of course, the defense had zero answers. I thought that maybe last week the way that the Texans would approach the Ravens offense is we're going to stack the box and make Cooper Rush beat us with his arm. Believe it or not, they actually saw the Ravens did a lower percentage of stacked box runs for Derrick Henry than in the 5 or 4 weeks leading up to the first full game without Lamar Jackson. Like, they basically just said, you're just not good enough right now, even with Derrick Henry running the football between the tackles. They're really, really threatened by you. If you're looking for a confidence builder right now, Dan, it's your offense faces the Ravens defense or your defense faces the Ravens offense. Obviously, the Texans are a great, great defense. They're number one in points per game allowed so far this year. But because of the injury attrition, I just don't see it against this Rams team this weekend.
Yeah, I see the Rams very much so winning this game. They're going to be able to run the football. We know this run defense struggles.
Bad.
This defense cannot get to the quarterback. You give Stafford time with this passing group and pass concepts designed, they'll be just fine. I'll say this about the Ravens. Just get to the bye week. I can make the claim that the bye week is more important than the game.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because you're sitting there 1-5. But get to the bye week, see how healthy you can get. Obviously, Lamar leading that way. And then figure out if you can realistically make a run. If you can find a way to win this game, that's absolutely sensational. But coming off of how you looked last week, it's really hard for me to try to think of a way. They got to get to the bye week.
The division they play in helps right now because they have 2 games against Pittsburgh coming up, so they can potentially cover some ground.
But they got to start playing good football.
For sure.
You know, we can sit here and talk about injuries all we want. There's a lot of teams that are dealing with injuries.
Yeah.
You have to start playing good football. You have to be fundamentally sound. You have to be in the places you're supposed to be on defense, whether you're a starter or a backup. You got to be able to maintain a block on the offensive side and complete passes on a consistent. Until Baltimore starts playing good football, we're not going to take them seriously when it comes to the playoff conversation.
As far as we know, Derrick Henry is still healthy, and Derrick Henry was held to under 50 rush yards in 4 straight starts. That's his longest career streak. Feels like they got to find a way to get him the ball more, get him more success. He gets better as the game goes on, too. All right, new on NFL Live. We're going to go here next as the Lions and Chiefs face off on Sunday night. That's going to be a great matchup. Here's Patrick Mahomes and Dan Campbell today on the game.
It's extremely important. I mean, there's no way around it. This is a really good football team that we're going to play. They play extremely hard, and they have a mentality. They're going to come in and win a football game, and so we have to match that intensity. We have to match that mentality, and then knowing that it's going to take our best football.
You got to do a number of things with him. You know, first of all, he can smell a rat from a mile away. So if you're going to disguise, boy, it better be worthy of a Grammy. because this guy sees it all and he smells it immediately. He can alter protections. He can get to different things in the pass game. But you got to be careful that you don't want to become something you're not either.
I'm imagining Patrick Mahomes like sniffing the air, like, I smell that defense. Okay, we know the Lions are an elite offensive team, leading the league in scoring and 5th in efficiency, but they're also a top-notch defensive team, ranking 2nd in defensive efficiency behind only the Vikings. Last year, only one team ranked top 5 in both offensive and defensive efficiency, and it was the Super Bowl champion Eagles. Pretty cool to see them get to full strength, get Aiden Hutchinson back this year. Dan, what stood out to you about the Lions defense so far this season?
Old school principles in a new era. They play defense in a way that not many teams in the NFL do. Number one, they are violent at the line of scrimmage, and they believe in rerouting. They're playing man coverage across the board, immediate reroute at the line of scrimmage. We don't see that from corners a lot. And then when they're playing man, they're often playing it together. Shallow cross from the slot, that safety cuts, that backside safety's looking to replace if necessary. That should be a 8 to 10 yard completion, it's 4 yards. Okay, then Hutch by himself. We have the overload away. T. Higgins and Jamar up top, they're gonna go 1, reroute. Again, teams don't do that much. 2-man up top, and they're gonna put that single corner by himself. Now it's 3rd and 15. They're funneling everything inside. We'll give up you an 8 or 9 yard completion, force a field goal. I love that. Here's that man-to-man again. Empty set. Kansas City's going to present this. Are we going to get a reroute at the line of scrimmage? Jam, 100% we are. That throws off the timing of the pass game. Just watch how the safeties play that vision, though. This isn't man-to-man, you by yourself. It's man-to-man with always help. There's always somebody there that is playing off of the leverage. And I will ask you this. Find me a linebacker playing better than Alex Anzalone. Here's the deep cross. What's the corner do? Hey, safety, here it comes. Here it comes. Safety gets to cut the crosser. Corner up top replaces. Everybody has vision underneath. Anzalone's just waiting there because he knows that ball has to get thrown off of that concept. Bang, pick. Anzalone's playing backer as good as anybody in football. Wow. And I think that there is a defensively an epidemic in the NFL that we just don't reroute pass game receivers anymore. That defense does.
Alex Anzalone, Gator, by the way.
Gator, go Gators.
I'll be interested to see if they have the same approach this upcoming weekend because the injuries have really hit this Lions team. 3 of their top 4 corners, at least coming into the season, like when training camp began, are not going to be available on Sunday night, with the latest addition being Terrion Arnold, their second-year corner, who Terrion is going to continue to grow into a player who understands there's a fine line between aggressive and having too many flags thrown your way. Yeah. That being said, at some point when the depth piles up, or at least I should say the depth goes the other way, when your depth becomes an issue, you can't always do things exactly how you want to do so. The best way, though, to cover up for a secondary that's depleted is to rush the passer well. This past Monday night, the Chiefs didn't win the game, but they protected Patrick Mahomes at a very high level. He was not sacked once by a Jaguars defense that had been very aggressive all season, had done a good job of piling up those sacks. And, of course, as Dan Campbell alluded to, Patrick is not going to be fooled by much. So if you are going to bring pressure, you try to account for the fact that you are thin in the secondary. As Dan Campbell also said, it better be the ultimate disguise because there are very few things at this juncture of Patrick's career that totally catch him off guard. Didn't seem like the Jaguars were able to catch him off guard much on Monday night. 318 passing yards is best of any game this season.
Yeah, I think the question is Detroit going to do that same stuff? Is the fair one to ask.
Right. You know, we saw it last year in the playoff game against Washington. Even when they were getting carved up, they did not stop. Kelvin Shepard has some Aaron Glenn. Yeah.
Still got
Maybe
those
they got it. Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna. Rock Ya-Sin's still there. He's played a lot of football in this league. You can trust his veteran experience. Those safeties make up for a lot. Those safeties are special players.
By the way, Patrick Mahomes 0-2 in his career versus Jared Goff, but he has thrown for 704 yards and 8 touchdowns in those 2 games. So it hadn't necessarily been his fault. All right, we're getting Schottenheimer today on how the Cowboys offense has been able to find success.
You go out on game day and you just let it rip, man. You just let it go, and I think that's how you handle the ups and downs, like, you know, of this game. And I mean, I was tired. The players were tired after Sunday. The emotions of it, up and the downs, and it's like a game where you feel like we had the game in hand most of the time, but like there's constantly things going on, and I think really, trying to get these guys to understand to play free and relax is the best way to go out there and be the best version of yourself.
This reminds me of our philosophy for NFL Live. We just let it rip. We ride the highs, the lows.
Yeah.
There's not many lows. All right, time now for Insight versus Impact. This is a new segment we're really excited about. Field's going to dive into some smart moves that were made this offseason, so we're going to talk about that. And then Dan's going to show us how it's actually playing out on the field. So we're going to stay in Dallas, where the Cowboys made some moves this offseason. Field, they've got you impressed.
Yeah, Laura, I think it's important in life to be able to understand that two things can be true at once, right? You can question the Micah Parsons trade, but still like a lot of what the Cowboys did besides that this offseason. They made a bet on Javonte Williams, a guy who'd been cast off after 4 years in Denver. He's a bust. Apparently not, because he's been one of the best running backs in all of the NFL. George Pickens, who they got for the cost of just 2 draft picks, none bigger than a third-round pick, has been excellent, especially in the absence of CeeDee Lamb over the past few games. And they made a bet on Jake Ferguson, who had 0 receiving touchdowns last year. They gave him a 4-year, $52 million extension this offseason. I would say in terms of impact, he's right there at the top of the list of all tight ends in the NFL this season, especially with Brock Bowers being banged up. Last week, George Pickens was kind of slowed down by Sauce Gardner. And then our guy Ryan Flanoy, who they drafted a year ago in the 6th round, made a major impact with over 100 total yards.
Let's go, Jerry.
One of my favorite offenses to watch on a week-by-week basis. I think the way that I'll describe it is they're making the simple look complicated to defenses. You go to earlier in the game, this is 22 personnel, 2 backs, 2 tight ends, and this is going to be just a counter to your back, Javonte Williams. You're not looking for home runs. You get down block, you pull the backside guard. This is going to be a good, efficient 6 or 7 yard run, but the backside is starting to really creep in and pay attention. Then you go to a couple plays later. Can we take that same thing, dress it up a little bit, and run a very different play? 2 backs, 2 tight ends, motion, back offset. Now we're going to down block, pull the guard. Here comes that counter that we just ran just to the other side. Look at everybody in the backside. Okay, that's got to be the same run that just happened for Dallas. Nope. It's that tight end screen to Jake Ferguson. You have 3 blockers out front with only 1 defender left. But this is a simple play by the offense that looks complicated to defense. Flournoy, go a little bit later in the game. Here we go, 2 tight ends. Now are we going to get that same action? Is it going to be that counter that we've seen the counter run? We've seen the counter screen. We just saw this motion. Yup. Here's the backside guard, double pullers. It must be that counter run. Get downhill to Javonte Adams. Here's that little flip reverse to Flournoy, that wide receiver. I just think the way that they're calling their offense is simple, look complicated, and take the complicated for us and make it very simple. I really like that Schottenheimer's like, hey, we're just letting it fly. But we got to credit him. This offense is incredibly creative, and they're tying it all together.
It's all happening with a lot of offensive line injuries as well. There are 3 starting Tylers along the offensive line, have been very banged up of late. Sounds like some reinforcements coming, though, in the form of Tyler Booker, their 1st-round pick, getting healthy.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And when CeeDee Lamb comes back, it's magic.
A fun offense.
All right, let's talk about the Patriots a little bit. They're off and running. Of course, a big deal. This win over the Bills, the Drake May era with Mike Vrabel has had very good return so far. Phil, just 5 games into this season, what moves from the Patriots offseason? They did a lot of different things. What has impressed you the most?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a relationship in the NFL right now that's more important between a young quarterback and the play caller who's tutoring him. And right now the Patriots have found a perfect marriage between Drake May and, of course, Josh McDaniels, back for his 3rd stint with the team. And Josh, of course, worked legendarily with Tom Brady for a long time. This is his first young quarterback project in quite some time, though, right? At least to this level. And Drake May, I think about him like this. He's got so much improvisation skill in his game, and he actually almost feels better when he's allowed the liberty to do things outside a little bit of structure. Not that he's not dropping back, no play action. I'm just saying that, like,
that's abnormal for McDaniel's offense.
Yeah, he has adapted to the player that he has in Drake May, who is dissimilar to any quarterback that he has ever coached. So not just Josh McDaniels, but also Stephon Diggs, who in each of the past 2 games has gone over 100 yards for the Patriots, seeing north of 40% of the targets in those 2 games. He has looked like vintage Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, quick learner. That's the thing that has really started to stand out for Drake May. And you talk about that play caller. When the play caller calls a play, there's got to be a great conversation. I love this, okay? Number 1, double chips on the edges. Let's give it a chance to get the play off. We're going to send a post down the field, a deep cross, and a check down. This backer's kind of in between. Drake takes the check down. That's fine. Happens a little quick. Play caller, call it again. I'll get it right. It's going to be the very similar look. There's going to be this play fake. We're going to get this double chip on the edges. Let's give it a chance. Right? Hey, a couple plays before we ran this, Drake, you might have got the check down a little bit too quick. Give our guys a chance to protect.